Are we all set, Ferris? Good morning, or good afternoon. Welcome to our Electric School Bus Award Press Conference. My name is Elizabeth Hauptman. I am the Michigan Field Coordinator with Moms Clean Air Force. We are a community of over 1 million moms and dads united to fight for clean air and climate action to protect our children's health and future, including 33,000 here in Michigan. We are here gathered today to celebrate the schools who were awarded funds from the Bipartisan Infrastructure Investment Jobs Act. Yesterday, these schools who applied for the first round of funding to transition away from dirty diesel were announced. Today, the Biden-Harris administration announced this fiscal year of 2022, recipients of the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency's Clean School Bus Program rebate competition, awarding over $54 million from the President Bipartisan Infrastructure Law to 25 school districts in Michigan. The grants will help schools purchase 138 clean school buses that will accelerate transition to zero-emission vehicles and produce cleaner air in and around schools and communities. 25 school districts in Michigan will receive the funding, a total, like I said, of 138 clean school buses that will go to the state, with 100% which are electric. Michigan is leading the Midwest in school bus electrification. In fact, we had the 6th most applications from across the country for these funds. Each day, almost 600,000 kids go to school and travel on an average 45 minutes per day on these school buses. Unfortunately, many of them ride older diesel-powered buses. This means our kids and bus drivers are breathing dirty diesel fumes for over 120 hours per year. Children like my son who suffer from asthma don't have to worry about exhaust triggering an asthma attack on their way home, going to a field trip, or traveling to and from a sporting event. Electric school buses offer a better and healthier alternative for our children. On May 20th of 2022, the EPA launched its 2022 Clean School Bus Program by opening its online rebate application portal. Moms and the Electric Coalition worked hard to help schools get these funds and apply for these applications to the EPA. The speakers today represent an incredible contributions from a variety of sectors, including labor, health, pupil transportation, and environmental protection agencies. These folks are working to ensure that the funding for electric school buses is allocated to the school districts that need them most, and that we may invest more to transition away from dirty diesel school buses. We'd also like to recognize all the work many of these electric school bus advocates did to help advance our electric school bus fleets across Michigan and encourage other schools to apply for these funds. Moms and dads know that kids who ride an electric school bus get cleaner, quieter, and healthier commutes, while school districts save money on fuel and maintenance. New electric school buses are already rolling into towns across the state. We want every community to benefit from cleaner air and a healthier ride to school. And with that, I'd like to introduce our first speaker, Frank Acevedo, the Environmental Protection Agency, Region 5.
Thank you, Elizabeth, and all folks from Moms Clean Air Force, BlueGreen Alliance, Michigan Clean Cities, and the It's Electric Partnership for making this event possible. I'm extremely excited to be here with you today on behalf of EPA's Region 5 office and our regional administrator, Deborah Shore, who unfortunately was not able to be here, but she will be here soon. I share the excitement for this historic moment that brings air quality benefits of electric school bus technology to our region, which is home to 16% of the U.S. school-age population. Yesterday, as you heard from Elizabeth, the Biden administration announced the awardees to receive nearly $1 billion of EPA's FY 2022 Clean School Bus Rebate Competition, a program that will improve air quality in and around schools and communities, reduce greenhouse gas pollution, and better protect children's health. These awards, under President Biden's bipartisan infrastructure law, will forever transform school bus fleets across the United States, replacing older, heavy polluting vehicles with clean, zero-emission school buses, which will be now the American standard. Given the overwhelming demand from school districts across the country, EPA nearly doubled the amount of awards that were originally intended for this rebate program in FY 2022. These awards will fund electric school buses and low-emission buses for all school districts for all 50 states, Washington, D.C., U.S. territories, and federally recognized tribes. This program prioritizes communities of greatest need, and the vast majority of the rebate awards will go to prioritized school districts serving low-income, rural, and/or tribal students and communities. The breadth of the rebate recipients demonstrates the enthusiasm that school districts across the country, including those in rural areas, have for electric and lower emission school buses. The Clean School Bus program is accelerating our transition to electric school buses. EPA, as part of this program, is funding school buses up to $375,000 per school bus and up to $20,000 for charging equipment for prioritized districts. These awards are just the first $1 billion of a 5-year, $5 billion program under the bipartisan infrastructure law. EPA looks forward to announcing the next round of funding, which will include an ambitious grant competition. EPA expects to make another $1 billion available for clean school buses in fiscal year 2023. Here in Michigan, as Elizabeth pointed out, $54 million in rebate awards will go to 25 school districts, such as Dearborn and Pontiac, to purchase 138 school buses, clean school buses, electric school buses. To give you a little bit of a perspective, Michigan was ranked second nationally with the most districts selected, 25, just one shy of Missouri, which had 26, and fourth nationally with regards to funding received, behind New York and California and South Carolina. And thanks to the great work of our Michigan It's Electric partners, who were not only regional but national leaders in providing outreach and assistance to EPA and school districts, 15% of the total awarded rebate funds for 2022 have come to our Great Lakes region, which includes Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. Our partner suggestion and feedback on program design and focus were critical in making these rebates accessible for as many school districts as possible. Again, thanks to all the partners in the Clean School Bus program will result in healthier air for many of the 25 million American children who rely on school buses every day. And, you know, as we know, and following the National Clean School Bus Safety Week, school buses are the safest ways for our kids to get to and from schools, and now we're making them the cleanest. Thank you. Now I'd like to introduce Kindra Weid, who is our key partner with It's Electric.
Thank you, Frank. I was getting tearful there. This is a really good day. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Kindra Weid, and I am a nurse. I'm also an air quality advocate in Michigan. Myself and our It's Electric Coalition joined forces about 2 years ago to support and advance electric school buses in Michigan. We believe that every child deserves a clean ride to school. We started by advocating for state and federal legislation to support further electrification of school buses. So, as you can imagine, this is with absolute joy that we are standing here before you today celebrating the selectee announcements for the first round of the EPA's Clean School Bus program. We had been eagerly awaiting the news to learn what school districts would be awarded clean school buses. As Elizabeth stated, the majority of Michigan's school buses are diesel powered. We know that diesel emissions are a toxic soup of 40 known carcinogens, and anyone who has ever worked around them knows that they are bad for respiratory health as well as the environment. Thankfully, our leaders acknowledge this as well, and with the passage of the bipartisan infrastructure law, they created the EPA's Clean School Bus program, designed as a bus replacement program to get these dirty diesel buses off the road. We send a sincere thank you to President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris for making this program possible. EPA recognizes the importance of prioritizing school districts serving low-income, rural, and tribal students, and 99% of the awards are going to projects in these prioritized districts across the country and across Michigan. Electric school buses provide a better alternative to diesel. They have zero tailpipe emissions and improve air quality for our students, for our bus drivers and our mechanics, and for our communities. The folks at the Michigan Association of Pupil Transportation, or MAPT, recognized this early on, and they got the wheels on the electric school bus rolling back in 2019 with a very successful rollout in 7 school districts across Michigan. In fact, as already been stated, and we'll just keep highlighting, Michigan is leading the Midwest in school bus electrification. We are damn proud of that. These early advocates help to build a strong foundation and knowledge base to support further electrification of our school buses. And now we are fortunate enough to expand clean school buses across the rest of the state. Yesterday, 25 more school districts, accounting for an additional 138 clean school buses, will be joining the clean school bus fleet across Michigan. I can't speak more proudly about the work of this diverse coalition of advocates, about the work that they've been doing. And I'm so appreciative for their passion for electric school buses. We have been very fortunate to work closely with our EPA regional representatives, Frank Acevedo and Tony Maeda, as well as our friends and partners at MAPT, Katrina Morris, Mac Dashney, and Doug Francis, and all the bus drivers and transportation directors who have stepped up to be a resource during this process. Your knowledge, your experience, and enthusiasm for electric school buses is contagious. And we are so grateful for your help these past months in spreading the word about the program and answering questions from districts that were interested in applying. Susan Mudd with the Environmental Law and Policy Center has been critical to advocating for this program and making sure that the awards were distributed justly. And she continues to work for this for future rounds. And Moms Clean Air Force's Elizabeth Hauptman and volunteers across the state have been huge supporters of this work. Moms Clean Air Force's passion for child and environmental health is truly inspiring. We have also had great support from our partners at EGLE, MDHHS, the Michigan Association of School Nurses, Clean Cities Michigan, Southwest Detroit Environmental Vision, Michigan Environmental Council, Asthma and Allergy Foundation of America, the Michigan chapter, DTE and Consumers Energy's Clean Fleet programs, and many other electric school bus and child health advocates. Michigan had 83 school districts submit applications and now has 58 school districts on the waiting list. I attribute some of this success directly to the diversity and work of this coalition and the passion that they have for electric school buses. We look forward to supporting districts in this rollout, advocating for more state dollars to support implementation and technical assistance, and spreading the word for the next round of funding in 2023, because every student deserves a clean ride to school. Next, I would like you to hear from Rachel VanDenBrink. Thank you.
Hello, I am here representing the Michigan Association of School Nurses. I'm grateful to be here today to represent the few but mighty school nurses working in our state, working to create safe and healthy environments for Michigan's students. School nurses are frontline advocates for student health and play an important role in bridging the gaps in health disparities for students with asthma and other chronic conditions. In conjunction with the Michigan Department of Education's model policy on asthma-friendly schools and this incredible grant to support electric school buses, school nurses have a greater role than ever in addressing environmental health issues and their impact on student health and academic performance. Students with chronic conditions like asthma often have an uphill battle to achieve equitable learning opportunities alongside their peers. On average, in a classroom of 30 students, 3 are likely to have asthma. And if their environment is not safe to breathe, asthma exacerbations are then one of the leading causes of school absenteeism, not to mention the additional amount of time that they may spend in ER visits and hospitalizations. School nurses work hard to support these students by providing daily support and reducing asthma emergencies, but we also work to identify and reduce the risk of triggers in their environments. So the impact of reducing the number of diesel-run buses in our communities will certainly support the efforts of our school nurses to keep our students safe, healthy, and ready to learn in their classrooms. Asthma-friendly schools are those that make these efforts, like purchasing electric school buses, to create safe and supportive learning environments for students with asthma. We look forward to the day that all of our Michigan students have the same opportunities to breathe healthy air. I would like to introduce Katrina Morris.
Hello, my name is Katrina Morris, and I am the Transportation Director for the West Shore Educational Service District, as well as the Executive Director for the Michigan Association for Pupil Transportation, otherwise known as MAPT. A little over 3 years ago, I was in the same location with representatives from Eagle, Michigan Department of Transportation, and 7 different school districts to welcome into Michigan the first 17 electric school buses. These 17 electric school buses were made available to these 7 districts through the VW and DEER grants being awarded for almost $4.5 million. Moving forward to today, I am excited to be here once again, to stand here and to congratulate the 25 districts who will be receiving 138 clean burning school buses. These school buses were made possible through the $54 million in rebates awarded from the federal infrastructure bill. Our work does not stop with these 25 districts. Like has already been said, Michigan has another 58 districts on a wait list for another 239 school buses. And the infrastructure bill is still for another 4 years. We will also continue to advocate for other avenues of funding to the Michigan legislation. We need to continue to look at the school bus as a whole child experience. The school bus has always been the safest form of transportation for our students to and from school. And with these awards, we can now include the healthiest form of transportation to and from school for our children. Congratulations to the 25 districts for your dedication to the safety and welfare of our children. And with that, I would like to turn it over to Donovan McKinney, the National Political Director from Climate Patrol.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donovan McKinney, and I'm the National Political Director with Climate Power. I want to thank you all for joining us today. I'm so excited to be here on behalf of Climate Power to talk about how EPA's clean school bus rebates, this program, along with critical clean energy investments from the Biden administration and congressional Democrats, are huge wins for Michigan, ensuring healthier communities while creating good paying jobs here at home. Electrifying school buses puts us all on the path to cutting emissions and also ensures our kids aren't being poisoned on their way to and from school. As a kid, I grew up on the northeast side of Detroit, and I was one of those students that took the bus day in and day out to get to school. I developed asthma at such a young age because of the smog we had to breathe every day, because of the surrounding air pollutions in our neighborhoods. I also know friends and family members and other colleagues who developed not only asthma, but other respiratory and pulmonary diseases. As a new dad, not sure if you guys know, my wife and I, we have a 9-month-old baby boy. Thank you. I am filled with optimism, knowing the steps the Biden administration and congressional Democrats have taken to expand clean energy that will provide my son with a cleaner and safer future. The passage of this historic climate investments in the Inflation Reduction Act puts us on the path towards a cleaner future. This is a big win for us in Michigan. I am grateful for the leadership of Senator Peters, Senator Stabenow, Rep. Slotkin, and all of us of the other Democratic members of the Michigan Congressional Delegation for delivering the clean energy and climate action in the Inflation Reduction Act. So with that being said, I want to introduce my brother, Frank Houston.
Good morning / afternoon now, I guess, actually. Excuse me, 1 second. Thanks, Donovan. And I also want to begin with thanks to not just our Democratic elected officials who helped make this program happen, but to the EPA, and specifically Frank and the team at Region 5, Director Shore, for really the unprecedented investment in Michigan school buses and in making this program really impactful here in Michigan, through the rebate competition. As I think everyone here knows, these resources play an important role in promoting public health and equity in Michigan schools. And I'll say, as a parent and former teacher, I see the deployment of electric vehicles through the Clean School Bus Program as one of the more exciting opportunities for our children to experience a way of combating climate change, as well as helping Michigan workers. And this is because of the bipartisan infrastructure law. And as Kindra said, and many others, the funding provided by this program means that school children across Michigan, as well as teachers, mechanics, and school bus drivers, will all breathe easier and cleaner air. It's also worth noting, though, that reducing emissions from heavy vehicles like school buses is a truly critical component of Governor Whitmer's plan outlined in the My Healthy Climate Plan, to really combat climate change and make sure that we are net zero by 2050. So getting down to being a carbon neutral state, heavy duty vehicles like buses are a critical component. One more thing, though, I need to touch on today is just the important opportunity for companies and workers because of bus programs like this. Programs like this one undoubtedly will spur demand for cleaner vehicles, which is great. But for manufacturing workers here in Michigan and across the country, they're eager and ready to build the vehicles of the future. And there are, frankly, a lot of jobs in assembling and manufacturing, not just the vehicles, but the component parts, the wheels, the windows, the frames, and the batteries that power them. However, these jobs aren't guaranteed to be good high-road jobs. That happens by government making good policies and making sure that our massive investments in electric school buses are in fact creating good family-sustaining jobs. And we need to make sure that we cooperate with our agencies and our automakers to make sure that they meet that call to action and are making sure workers who are building the school buses and frankly any other publicly funded vehicle, that they're receiving fair wages, good benefits, and are in an equitable, safe, diverse, and democratic workplace. That means workers need to have free and fair choice to join a union. That means that we need communities to behave responsibly and work with workers and communities that make this happen. And I'm pleased to say that earlier this year, 21 organizations from around the country worked with Lion, called on Lion actually, to create a community benefit agreement for Joliet, where vehicles like the one before us today are being built. And we're glad to say Lion Electric agreed to come to the table to, in fact, create that community benefit agreement. Candidly, community benefit agreements are an essential component to make sure that we have a diverse representative workforce, locally hired and unionized. And we were excited to see frankly, another company model that commitment initially. However, it seems that process has halted. So we need Lion to come back to the table, ready to make good on its commitments to the United Auto Workers and the Joliet community. And just being candid, honoring these commitments are how we ensure the benefits of a vehicle electrification that's beginning now in earnest is far and wide and felt by everyone. From the children like mine riding the buses, to the bus drivers, to the mechanics, to the workers who drive and build them. With that, thank you, and I'll turn it over to Lynn Bosma, who's the Health and Equity Outreach Program Manager with the Asthma and Allergy Foundation. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank, for the introduction, and thank you to Moms Clean Air Force, Climate Power, BlueGreen Alliance, and Michigan Clean Cities for hosting this celebration. Again, I'm Lynn Bosma, the Health Equity and Outreach Program Manager with the Asthma and Allergy Foundation of America, also known as AFA. Founded in 1953, AFA is the oldest and largest patient advocacy organization for those with asthma, allergy, and related diseases. AFA is dedicated to saving lives and reducing the burden of disease for people with asthma and allergies through support, advocacy, education, and research. As we're here today to celebrate the EPA's Clean School Bus Rebate Awards here in Michigan, I want to highlight the impact that these awards will have on children with asthma. Sadly, asthma is a real challenge here in Michigan. Michigan is the 5th highest asthma rate in the entire United States, well above the national average. Detroit was also recently named the #1 most challenging asthma capital in the U.S. in AFA's 2022 Asthma Capitals Report. This report ranks how challenging it is to live with asthma in the 100 largest cities in the U.S. based on 3 things: asthma prevalence, asthma deaths, and asthma-related emergency department visits. Asthma is the most common chronic condition in children and one of the leading causes of hospitalizations and school absenteeism. Children with severe asthma are also more likely to suffer academically. It's a chronic disease that causes your airways to become inflamed, making it hard to breathe. There's no cure for asthma, and the best way to manage is to avoid triggers, take medications to prevent symptoms, and prepare to treat asthma episodes if they occur. Poor air quality and exposure to air pollution is a very significant risk factor, both for developing asthma and for those who already have an asthma diagnosis. Children are especially vulnerable to the dangerous impacts of air pollution like diesel exhaust because their respiratory systems are still developing. It's also important to note that neither asthma nor air pollution impacts everyone equally. According to AFA's 2020 Asthma Disparities Report in America, the burden of asthma in the U.S. falls disproportionately on Black, Hispanic, and American Indian and Alaskan Native people. These groups have disproportionately high rates of poor asthma outcomes, including hospitalizations and deaths. For example, Black individuals are 5 times more likely to be hospitalized for asthma in the emergency room, 3 times more likely to die from asthma than their white individuals. Furthermore, exposure to air pollution is disproportionately experienced by Black and Hispanic populations, even though emissions are disproportionately caused by white populations. Much of these emissions come from dirty vehicles. In fact, in the U.S., the transportation sector is the leading contributor to air pollution and almost the largest source of climate pollution. Climate change is a public health emergency, and communities across the nation are already experiencing the health impacts of climate change, including longer and more intense allergy seasons, increased asthma triggers like air pollution. This is why cleaning up the transportation sector is imperative for our most vulnerable populations for today and in the future. Today, our children are exposed to dirty diesel-powered school buses daily on their way to and from school, and unfairly suffering the health and academic consequences. But thanks to federal investments that we're celebrating today by the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law and the Inflation Reduction Act, we can finally see a cleaner and healthier future for our kids. Investments in clean vehicles and buses not only have the potential to transform the transportation sector, as my colleagues pointed out, clean the air, and reduce asthma exacerbations in children, but it's also a strong step towards achieving environmental justice. AFA looks forward to celebrating and supporting the transition to zero-emission school buses across Michigan and the United States, and will continue to advocate for health in all policies. Thank you.
So, on behalf of Moms Clean Air Force, Climate Power, BlueGreen Alliance, and the Michigan Clean Cities, thank you for attending this press conference about clean school bus rebates that the EPA awarded to Michigan school districts. Thank you, speakers, for your comments today. You all represent the incredible contributions from a variety of sectors, including labor, human health, pupil transportation, and the environmental protection agencies. These folks are working hard to ensure that funding for electric school buses is allocated to the school districts that need it most, and that we invest even more into transitioning away from dirty diesel school buses. Also, special thanks to Lion and Navistar IC for providing these amazing electric school buses. We cannot wait to check them out. But first, I'd like to invite all the speakers back to the stage and ask if press has any questions that they would like to ask our speakers for today. All right, then we'll stand here for a few photos, and then as soon as we're done, we will go over to the bus and check it out.